Not so good today, huh? The image there. Let's have a look. Let's go like this. Okay. And we are live. So I read a really interesting article today in The Guardian where Sven-Göran Eriksson, who used to basically coach the England team and is currently working with working as the coach for the Philippines, said that he had one regret. And he said that his biggest regret was not taking a mental coach to the 2006 World Cup. Now, for me, this is a really, really interesting thing because essentially at the beginning of the article, the Sven says, you know, he doesn't do regrets and that he has had an extraordinary career. He's managed 16 teams in 8 different countries, but now he's working as the coach for the Philippines. And what's really fascinating about this is that his regret is not having had a mental coach at the World Cup in 2006. Sorry there, I was just kind of going between screens. Here I am. So my question really is he right? And I think that this is something that is interesting to reflect on for a number of different reasons. And one of them is because earlier, or in, I should say, I was going to say earlier this year, but we're now in 2019. But in 2018, Gareth Southgate did an incredible job with his team playing at world level because he was working on lots of other aspects. Look, the guy must be incredibly good in terms of actually coaching the team. And some say that he was more successful because he was also a bit of an underdog coach. So this is Gareth Southgate I'm talking about. But actually what he did was he actually brought a bunch of people together and he created a real team. And part of the reason for his success, in my view, is because the coach's team actually consisted of a number of different people. Now, Sven calls it a mental coach. I would call it a coach that is actually helping you with your high performance, someone that is supporting you to have the right attitude, to actually look at your game and think about what is it that you're able to do in your life to do better, to just push a little bit harder. And here's a really interesting thing about that is that we all could do with somebody like that. I mean, I firmly believe that everybody should have a coach of some sort in their lives. And I'll tell you exactly why. If you think about it like this, let's say you are wanting to do a marathon, right? When you take on a big challenge like that, you know, the reality of it is that the learning to run process actually is kind of quite easy because you just need to put one foot in front of the other and move faster, right? But here's the thing, when it comes to the game of your mind, that's where the real challenge is. And everybody that I know who has run a marathon, I've only done half marathons, that's the longest I've run. But everybody that I know who's done a full marathon says 95% of getting past the line and actually completing it is all to do with your psychology. So that can be from a number of different aspects. It can be to do with your belief that you're actually going to do it. It can even be you talking to your muscle groups and to your body, convincing it that it is capable of doing it. Here's the thing, research shows that when you think of a particular muscle that you are exercising and you touch it as you are exercising that muscle group, the brain-body connection is much more effective. And that muscle will exercise and it will work much harder. And what I find fascinating about that is that especially when you look at kind of sports teams and any athletes, they've got their actual trainers that will support them, and their coaches, I should say, that will support them in terms of the logistics, you know. But the reality, and look, your body needs to be able to perform. We kind of know that that's an absolute given. And particularly if you look at what's been happening with Andy Murray in the last few years, and the stories about how he may have to retire very, very imminently because of injuries, is that, your training is one thing, your body and its capacity is one thing, but at the same time, you also need that psychological and that mental training. And when you have that, that is the thing that takes you over the edge. When you believe that you can do something, it's as if you've won the battle. It's as if you're actually already there. It's as if you've achieved that thing that it is that you want to do. And it doesn't matter how crazy your idea is. Some people think that it's absolutely insane to leave the safety and the security of a six-figure job in government, running a project of, $500 million, to go into the unknown and then to be able to work it out. But that's what I've done. So many of my clients that I work with one-to-one in groups have kind of done some really, really crazy things. And what they've done is they've actually been able to fulfill and actually follow through on those things because they have had the right psychological attitude. And for that, I firmly believe that you need a coach. Now, look, I'm not a sports commentator, and I'm interested in football. I'll tell you a little bit of well, it's not quite a secret. A few people know, but something that may completely surprise you when you look at me, about me and my relationship with football. I'll tell you that in a minute. But I am not a football specialist. However, one thing that I know is about how you can take your psychological game and how you can scale it up so that you are in a position where you are able to perform much more effectively and get more things done. So imagine you're in this scenario. You have got the right kind of logistics around you. You have got the physical ability, yet you don't believe that you can do it. Do you think you're going to win? Do you ever think that you're going to be able to perform and follow through and actually achieve that thing? You're not. And if you do, then it's probably some sort of a miracle that you've done it. And God's intervention and, maybe other things that have happened, but it's probably not going to be so easy, right? But you get those three things in place and you have somebody that's working with your mindset, or a group that's supporting you, or you can even learn from books. I mean, look, I'm going to always say I think everybody should be working with a coach. I really do, because that is when you get to the stage where you get individual feedback and you're in that position where you can literally work out your specific individual roadmap to get you to wherever you want to go. But if you're not in a position where you can do that, you can read books, you can kind of get support from people that are around you, put yourself in the right community so that you create that environment, so that you create the kind of right psychology. And that's why I think it's absolutely essential for everybody to work on their mindset and to work on their psychology and their self-belief. Once you've done that, literally you can do anything that you want to. Then having the right environment, having the skills and the understanding, and having the physiology, those things, they're all going to support you. I mean, it's amazing to me. Like, I didn't want to turn this whole video all to do with all things sports, and I'm probably going to get to the extreme of my knowledge here, but here we go. Usain Bolt, the fastest man on earth. I find his story absolutely fascinating. The guy was good, but he wasn't ever interested in running. And what happened was, one day he realized that if he entered some races and ran, he could actually get enough money to buy his mum a washing machine. So in his teens, I think it was mid-teens, maybe 15, 16 or something, what does he do? He actually decided to enter this race, bought his mum a washing machine, and then the joy on his mum's face was the thing that then actually drove him at the beginning. I find it fascinating. So you need to have a goal or something that you want to achieve. And when you do that, then you still need those other things in place. So coming back to whether Sven-Göran Eriksson was right or wrong, I think he was absolutely right. He had the team in place. They were all, pretty much at the peak of their fitness. They had some of the world's best football coaches around them, but they didn't have that mental toughness coach or that psychological coach. And it's really interesting now, because when you look at a lot of kind of sports teams and individuals, their coaching team around them includes a number of different kind of techniques and talents. And I can see already that psychological coaching it's becoming much more nuanced in the arena of sports. And I think that eventually that's also going to kind of come into the wider world as well. So I suppose the question then is, what do you do if you are looking for somebody to give you the right level of psychological support? Find somebody that you can relate to. Find a coach that has got the right training. I mean, I'll do another live about this later, and I've spoken and written about this before as well, but it really irritates me that people can just kind of like turn up, do a day's coaching course, not even, some coaches don't even do any training at all, and turn up and say, I'm a coach. You've got to find people that have got the relevant qualifications, that have got experience, and that actually have a track record of delivery. When you get individuals who've done all of those things and then hire them, that is how you get to a space where literally you can, I mean, look at what Gareth Southgate achieved with his team. So it doesn't matter really that they didn't go on and win the World Cup. What they did was they actually came out as a really solid, strong team. And this guy proved what it takes to actually manage a team effectively. Because one of the interesting things, in my opinion, as well, is that as a parent, let's talk about it like this. As a parent, I know that I cannot give everything to my kids that they need. And I'm very, very open about that. I think it would be very naive of me to think that I can cover all of the bases. So when I find another adult that actually has and can support me to fill a gap in skills that I have for my kids, then I always say to them, welcome to the village. Because we all know that phrase, right? It takes a village to raise a young person, right? And perhaps as an adult, you could say, welcome to my team, but you want to make sure that you've got the right people on your team, the right people that are there that are supporting you. And you do that by covering all of the bases. So, for example, I'm doing a skipping challenge at the moment, and it's a month-long challenge. And gosh, I'm feeling muscles in places that I didn't even know they existed because it's so hard. But I have myself somebody who is supporting me with my skipping. As ridiculous as it sounds, skipping, for those of you in the States, is jump rope. So just in case you're kind of like, what is this skipping thing? It's like Christian chips, I always have to think about what it is that I'm saying before I say it, right? So I've got myself somebody who's going to help me with my technique and my form so that I'm doing it much more effectively. Because look, you can go through the motions, and you can actually, imagine like you're doing a skipping challenge or a running challenge or whatever challenge it may be that you're doing. You can go through that and you'll still get some results. but it might be harder for you. It might be more challenging. You may not enjoy it so much. But when you've got a coach, they will actually guide you and nuance you to finding those subtle things that make the difference for you. And that's what's really, really important. I remember a few years ago, I got a personal trainer to give me some advice on my squats. And honestly, I couldn't see the difference, but when they explained it to me and they showed me how I should just move my positioning ever so slightly, all of a sudden it just started to make a world of difference. And that's what I think good coaching does. It's just subtle, tiny little shifts and alterations in reality that give a huge increase, 10x even, in results. So should Sven-Göran Eriksson have taken a mental or psychological coach with him to the 2006 World Cups? 100%. He should have taken it. And I think any sports person, anybody interested in getting more results, anybody interested in kind of working out how they can move their life forward much more quickly should get themselves a coach. You know who's the right person for you. You just got to work that out and then somehow facilitate that. And look, I am a coach. Many of you know that already. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to say, hire me. What I am going to say is find the best coach for you that works for you, that gives you the information that is relevant for you and for your life. Right? I can make a lot of coaching recommendations, and I always do. When somebody comes to me, if there is not a good fit for me, I will always pass them on to somebody else. I think it's incredibly important to make sure that, we recommend the right fit. I would hate to work with somebody that, maybe I don't feel I can support effectively, or they don't feel that they are the right person for me. So we've got to make sure that you find the right person, right? Then you do the work. And that's something that I think a lot of athletes and sportsmen demonstrate. They get their team of coaches around them, and then they work. And when they work really, really hard, it doesn't matter if they don't always win. Coming back to Andy Murray, it doesn't matter, because actually winning the psychological game is far more important, because that's when you demonstrate yourself as a role model to the world, the role model to the future tennis players. It's just amazing what can happen when other people see your character shining through the greatness that you have, because you have the right psychology and the right kind of ability to be able to communicate. And that a lot of that comes from mindset. So I would encourage everybody to work on that. I'm going to come to the comments in Facebook and in Instagram and say some hellos to everybody in a moment. But one thing that I am going to encourage everybody to do is I have a 7-day Make It Happen week challenge that is starting in 15 minutes. So as soon as I finish here, I'm going to be going over to the chat roll there. You can get immediate access. There is no charge for this. I want you to take your dreams, to take whatever aspirations you have and turn them into a reality. And now is the time for you to do that. All you have to do is go to www.sayida.com and sign up there. And that's www.sayida.com and sign up for the Make It Happen Week challenge. And you'll get some really, really amazing resources there. You're going to get some incredible coaching, and I'm going to be there live in the chat roll every day for a week. Okay, let's come over to Instagram. Hello and salam alaikum to Juminak, to Nadia, Yusuf, Ayera, lovely to see you here. Alaf Drinks, gosh, Fazana, great to see you here. Estella, long time, lovely to see you here. Let's have a look. Fazulik, nice to see you here again. Juminak says, mashallah, but even if you did say Hi, Amy. It's still okay. You're so sweet. Thank you so much. Okay, if anyone's got any questions or if they've got any comments or observations, just put them in the comments box now, and we'll pick them up. And over on Facebook, Sarah says hi. Hi back, and she says absolutely, it comes from mindset. You know, mindset is like 99%. Really, it really is. One day I'm going to share with you the story of my car accident and what happened after that, because I'm telling you 99.9% of where I am now has happened as a result of my mindset and me not accepting the situation that I was in as a result of that. I also said that I was going to share with you my little thing about football, which I haven't done. So for those of you who are still here, I used to design football stadiums. I know, like, look at me. And I worked on some of the most amazing football stadiums in the UK. So I did some work on the UEFA five-star players accommodation at Celtic Football Ground. I was involved in the Leicester City Stadium. We did some work on Southampton as well. And it was so long ago. I'm sure there's a couple of others as well, but so long ago I can't remember. But yeah, I worked on these things. And I know you would never think of it when you look at me, but you know, gosh, maybe about 20 years ago, I qualified as an architect, and then I worked in that field for, you know, a number of years, and then my career just kind of went off in lots of different directions. So I always have a bit of an interest in football, but not as much as my son. And in fact, he would say I have no interest in it at all. I probably am more interested in the kind of psychology side of sports, to be honest, right now, because I think that's where you can really see the subtle differences. And there's a lot that we can learn from sportsmen and women, and from how their coaches are working with them, so that we can then, as coaches and also as individuals just going around in the world, actually up our game so that we can perform better. Okay, I'm going to end. I've kind of gone on slightly longer than I should have done. Thank you so much for coming on live. I'll be around tomorrow about the same time. And if you've got any subjects that you want me to speak about, just message me. If you've got any comments or any observations or insights on what I've shared, just put them in the comments below this video, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.